All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover here today. So do me a favor before we dive into these topics. If you end up enjoying the video or finding it informative, be sure to leave it a like. And if you are new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button as well. We're starting here with a new report that claims LEGO Horizon Adventures could be making its way to Xbox in the coming months. This is coming from Insider Gaming. Says it has been claimed that LEGO Horizon Adventures could soon be coming to Xbox in a bid to make the game a commercial success. That's according to Arab media outlet Just Play It, who claim that their sources have said that LEGO Horizon Adventures will be coming to Xbox in the coming months. While the outlet did not give a specific date, they said it's likely to come in the first months of 2025 at most, and even went as far to speculate that it could be even sooner. The move comes as the console exclusivity strategy between platforms has shifted in the past few years. PlayStation has seen tremendous success in bringing some of its titles to PC, whereas Xbox has decided to bring the majority of its exclusives over to PlayStation. So, yeah, this is, I would say, a really interesting report. I've talked about this previously, how I was honestly a little bit surprised that Horizon Adventures, LEGO Horizon Adventures, that is, wasn't announced for Xbox because it's a LEGO game, right? It's one of these titles that is licensed, and so because of that, the likelihood of it being completely multi-platform, I think, just automatically is higher. And we've seen this with like MLB The Show, where previously Sony used to have it as a PlayStation exclusive, but the MLB was like, listen, you're either going to put it on everything, including Game Pass, or we're going to take the license away from you and give it to somebody else. And so obviously for Sony, that's a no-brainer. You agree to that. We think about something like Marathon, how in order seemingly to close the deal with Bungie, they had to agree to let Bungie decide where they want to ship their games and allow them to continue to be fully multi-platform. And so with something like LEGO Horizon Adventures, I got to be honest with you guys, I would not be the least bit surprised if this game does make its way to Xbox. It seems like it's not really doing that well based off of what I can tell. It doesn't seem like it's selling that well on PlayStation, certainly not selling well on PC. And so, you know, the idea that maybe if it didn't hit certain sales milestones in a certain time frame, Sony agreed we will port it to Xbox, or we will release it on Xbox, or maybe that was part of the plan the whole time. Now, obviously, when we see reports like this, something else that pops up is, okay, well, does this mean PlayStation is going multi-platform? We see what Microsoft is doing. Microsoft seemingly is beginning to go full third-party multi-platform. We're going to talk about that in just a moment in the next topic. And so naturally, when we see this, that's what people are going to ask, or some people are going to jump to that conclusion. I don't think that's indicative of Sony going fully multi-platform if a game like LEGO Horizon Adventures releases on Xbox. I think it does show that Sony is becoming even more flexible, allowing even more breathing room, and willing to do a little bit more in this regard. I don't necessarily think that if LEGO Horizon Adventures ships on Xbox in the next couple of months, that means Horizon 3 is going to come to Xbox, or Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West are going to come to Xbox. I think that would be jumping to conclusions. I'm not saying it's impossible and it simply could never happen. It's clear that things are changing and that Sony is beginning to experiment and take different approaches. But yeah, I wouldn't look at this and assume that, oh, well, there we go. Sony's full multi-platform now. It is a game with the LEGO license attached to it. We have to keep that in mind. But yeah, this is the report we're getting. We'll see if it turns out to be true. Let me know your thoughts about that. But continuing to talk about console exclusivity, we have a new report from WCCF Tech where the title says Xbox exclusives are gone for good, says Jez Corden. It says here, Windows Central Jez Corden confidently tweeted on X that real exclusives, or true exclusives, for Microsoft's console are essentially gone for good in the company's plans. Xbox won't have exclusives going forward. Everything is a timed exclusive at most. If some games are exclusive, it's going to be incidental at best. The case-by-case argument is, by and large, going to be multi-platform, timed, and with maybe a few, and I mean very few, outliers. When asked about the exclusivity status on Playground's Fable, which is scheduled to launch sometime next year. He replied, quote, "That game was monstrously expensive. It might not be day one, but it will come with the current plan in place." Something else that's really important that for some reason is not here in the article, and I don't know why, is the fact that Jez Corden says that the only reason Microsoft hasn't come out and just basically said, yeah, we are full third-party multi-platform, the reason they haven't done that is because some of their teams are just simply not ready for that in terms of logistics, right? Like they're just not set up to be able to release their games day and date on PS5. This is something that is going to take time to build up to because the majority of these studios underneath Xbox were basically for years just focused on the Xbox console and PC. And so they're building their way up to that. And they don't want to, as he put it, mandate it where it's like, no, you have to do that. They're not there yet. They're not doing that because they know multiple teams are simply not ready to take that on. And it would cause potentially some delays and some development issues, and it would mess up their timelines. But he does make it clear here that the overall strategy is a multi-platform strategy, that it's not a matter of like, yeah, we're going to keep this game on Xbox and keep that game on Xbox. It is simply just a matter of, are you able to ship your game day and date on PlayStation? Is it ready to go? No? Okay, let us know when it is. Get working on that after you ship it on Xbox and PC. And for any team that is ready, they're clearly willing to do that. We just saw the Outer Worlds 2, that's going to be releasing on PS5, and originally that was not announced for PS5. Now people are saying, well, hey, the first one released on PS5, so of course it makes sense the sequel is going to. Let's be honest, go back to when this game was first announced. That's not what people were saying. It's disingenuous to kind of make it seem like that's what people were saying. They were not saying that. The assumption at the time was this is going to be an Xbox console exclusive. But because this is a multi-platform team, as in they have experience shipping games on PS5, it's ready to go day one on PS5. So yeah, again, not the most shocking thing, but if there's something I can say after going over both of these reports is that exclusivity is changing. These, publishers are realizing that, look, yeah, we have a storefront, we have a platform, we have a console and hardware we're trying to sell. We're going to be strategic about it. We're going to do what makes the most sense. I think what Microsoft is doing does make the most sense considering how many studios they have. They're a huge publisher, one of the biggest in the industry. And what Sony's doing, I think, also makes sense, where they still do need to consider that their main priority right now is to sell console hardware. So it would not be in their best interest to just kind of rip the Band-Aid off and just be like, one day, you know what, we're not doing exclusivity to any extent. It's over. It just simply wouldn't make sense for them to do that. But let me know your thoughts about that down in the comments below. We're moving on to the next topic, which is Fromsoftware acknowledging the situation with Kadokawa and Sony. It says here from Push Square, Sony is poised to purchase Kadokawa, the Japanese media conglomerate spanning various businesses across gaming, manga, and anime. One of its most noteworthy subsidiaries is Fromsoftware, a longtime PlayStation partner on projects like Demon's Souls and Bloodborne. In the aftermath of co-op game Elden Ring Night Reign's announcement, many are pondering what the acquisition could mean for the future of the Tokyo-based developer. According to the game's director, it still doesn't really know. To be perfectly honest, we just don't know right now at the moment where the discussions currently are at, he told IGN. If it's taking place, we're not privy to it. And so I just wanted to throw this out here because it's kind of funny to think that Fromsoftware is, I would say, when it comes to the gaming side of this, the biggest thing that people are focused on and talking about. Meanwhile, Fromsoftware is like, yeah, we don't know what's going to happen, right? So they're just doing what I think they should be doing, which is they're focused on their game development. They're making their games. And yeah, it's really interesting to see this new Elden Ring Night Reign multiplayer game announced. It's not live service, to be clear. They did clarify this is not a live service game. They said here, quote, "It's not what we consider a live service game. We wanted to have a game that felt like a complete package." But either way, if Sony does end up acquiring Kadokawa sooner rather than later, it's interesting to think that this could be one of the first things that releases underneath the PlayStation Studios banner from Software after the acquisition. But we don't know if that's going to happen or not. Moving on to the final topic of the video, apparently Sony is now publishing Midnight Murder Club on PS5 and PC. Sony signed on as the publisher of Midnight Murder Club, the sound-based first-person shooter from Velen Studios, the team previously behind the brilliant Knockout City. The PlayStation Store lists Sony Interactive Entertainment as the publisher for the game, while its PlayStation publishing moniker is leveraged on Steam. It appears the studio has retained ownership of the IP itself. It does suggest the title will remain exclusive to PS5 and PC in the foreseeable future. There's a crossplay beta available for you to try right now, but the game itself is effectively a first-person shooter where you're shrouded in darkness. You can use a flashlight to guide you, but doing so means you'll expose your position to others. That's a pretty interesting gameplay mechanic. According to the studio, Sony has been lending assistance on DualSense support. You can also expect the title to take advantage of the Tempest 3D audio features of the PS5, and or as positional audio is particularly important in this game. So the stress test is running until December 22nd, ahead of the expected early access release date in February. So this game does seem pretty interesting. It seems like a pretty fun game overall. I'm not sure if I'm going to play it or not, but it really depends on when it releases and what else I'm playing at the time. But yeah, definitely an interesting looking game here, and Sony clearly believes in it big time because they're getting behind it in a big way. So we'll see what ends up happening with this. But that does it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. If you did, leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.